Greetings fellow YouTubers, we are continuing our journey of exploring the mysteries of ancient Egypt. In this video I will talk about the political state of affairs in the ancient Egypt and the so-called Old Kingdom. This is a longer sequel to my previous video about the birth of the Egyptian civilization along River Nile. You should check it out, just saying. So without further ado, let's begin. The centralizing of the Egyptian rule and the uniting of the large nomes during the Second Dynasty gradually created causes for the rise of the prosperity of a monarchical country. This process ended with the rule of the pharaohs until the end of the Second and the beginning of the Third Dynasty. It lasted 4 decades, from 2780 to 2400 BC. The political history of the Old Kingdom distinguishes itself with two main characteristics: endless wars with the neighboring countries and the forming and developing of government rulership. Historians mostly use the work of Manetho. The military expansions of Egypt towards the neighboring countries started in the age of the pharaohs of the first two dynasties of the Archaic period, which is also called time of the Early Kingdom. Djoser, a pharaoh of the Third Dynasty, continued that line and led an active politics of conquest. He determined for the first time the southern border of Egypt near the first threshold of River Nile. Djoser was fighting in Nubia, and he is considered to be the first ruler who reached the second threshold of the River Nile. His name is connected also to the first larger pyramid, and he is also responsible for the stability and improving of the capital and the introduction of high governmental title, first assistant of the pharaoh. Unfortunately, the history of the Third Dynasty is relatively not known much because we lack sources. The names of the next pharaohs are known: Sekhmetos, Haba, Huni, but in some cases they are even considered as an uncertain information. The Fourth Dynasty begins with the pharaoh Snofru. He became ruler thanks to his marriage with the daughter of the previous pharaoh Huni and the death of the successor. However, it is not known for how long he ruled over Egypt. The chronology of the Fourth Dynasty is a subject to many debates. It is accepted that was in power since 2723 to 2563 BC. In the Palerm stone, it is stated that Snofru has been waging wars in Nubia and Libya. In the texts of that time, it is mentioned that in the war against Nubia, 7,000 Nubians were captured and 200,000 livestock heads were taken as spoils. Herodotus is the only source we have regarding the son of Snofru, Khufu, also known as Cheops. There are literally no other sources. His name is connected to the largest pyramid in Egypt. The power of the pharaohs of the Fourth Dynasty obviously grew. Their power lasted for a few decades. Sadly, again, there are no sources that can explain or reveal something more about the other pharaohs of this dynasty. According to Herodotus, the pharaohs of the Fourth Dynasty were oppressing the people with the building of the pyramids. Soon the population rebelled. These events mark the beginning of the Fifth Dynasty. The founder of the Fifth Dynasty is Userkaf. He considered and declared himself to be a son of Ra. The politics of deifying of pharaohs in Egypt has begun with this act. The pharaohs continued their expansions towards the neighboring countries. Pharaoh Sahure was successful in the Sinai Peninsula. The last of the pharaohs of this dynasty was Unas. During his 20 years in power, people started writing on the inner walls of his pyramid. These religious texts were later called texts of the pyramids. The pharaohs of the Sixth Dynasty continued with the military expansions on all sides. Pepi I waged war in Sinai, Palestine and Nubia. Merenra I took the northern territory of Nubia. In the last years of the rule of Pepi II began the regression of Egypt. In time, the centralized government lost its power. The conflicts within the country got impossible to settle, and the pharaohs lost their power and control over some territories. In this moment, the historians determined the end of the Old Kingdom, and thus began the so-called the First Intermediate Period. So, dear YouTubers, that's it for today. Thank you for your time. Don't forget to comment and subscribe so you can see more and become a part of something greater.